Okay, let's take a look at something that would seemingly be superficially meaningless, but would help your photography, and probably more than you realize at slow shutter speeds. Now, I've made several videos on grip techniques that are improvements for longer lenses and how to be able to get shots. I used to give archery lessons and shooting lessons, and I was really good at it. I was highly praised. I made my own bowstrings. I was master of a 5-spot competition, which is a type of target archery using a compound. There was also recurve shooters. They have their own class. What is an ability to, well, let's take Tiger Woods, for example, just as a very quick analogy. Someone that was, of course we haven't heard from Tiger Woods in 100 years, right? Master of his game, and he realized that even though he's beaten the hell out of everybody else, he still had ability to improve his technique. And this sort of approach of wisdom, that there's always room for improvement, is something that people are kind of hard-headed to adopt, including myself on certain things. Well, I've been doing it fine, it's been working fine for years, I'm not going to change. Yeah, but what if you made a little change and that improved things for you? This sort of hard-headedness is a fault that all humans have, including myself. I've been doing it for, it's working fine for me. Well, why don't you just try it, Why don't you just try it? And this is not about shooting techniques, this is about shutter release. But, I made several videos, and a lot of people have, been very thankful as far as some neat shooting techniques like this for longer lenses. I probably hit my mic there, sorry about that. Or also the little 3-knuckle spot, because the fewer contact points you have, and this is especially true in professional archery, and it's also true in photography, that the more contact you have, and it's also true in shooting especially, that if you're actually fighting with the device, and it doesn't matter if it's shooting a weapon or shooting a bow and arrow or using your camera, that the more contact points you have more muscle fight. This is the same issue people have when I was used to be a concealed carry instructor for the Department of Criminal Justice, and give very minor technique tips while at the shooting range, and people would drastically improve immediately. It's like, wow, I've been shooting for years, I had no idea how to do that. It's like, yeah, I saw you fighting with the item that you're shooting, and it's the same is true in photography. And I'm going to show you a quick technique to improve your shutter release. And it's going to seem ridiculous, but I'm going to prove to you immediately, and I'll let you try it, and you'll see that it does work. Like, one of the things that I mentioned is the less contact points you have on a camera, like I really show low shutter speed, instead of sitting here and wrapping my left hand around the camera and lens where everything is kind of fighting everything else. I can just use this, my knuckles, and I'm able to actually hold the camera a lot steadier. And this is a proven fact. And people that have actually tried this technique found that it works. So I'm going to move on to something else. And superficially, you're not going to think that it works. But if you try this with your camera, you will see that it does work. What we're going to be doing, instead of what you and everybody else has been doing, is sitting there and pressing on your shutter. Well, isn't your shutter meant to be pressed? Yeah, you're meant to release your shutter, but how do you release your shutter? And at slower shutter speeds, how important is that into eliminating camera shake? Excuse me. When I actually release the shutter, I'm going to show you with another device over here. You're going to think it's funny, but I'm going to be able to demonstrate it for you really quickly. On shutter release like this, where I'm actually dragging my finger into the base of the camera, what I'm doing is I'm actually torquing. I'm going to magnify what I'm doing here. It's going to be magnified so you can be able to see it. I'm actually doing this number. What, instead of this, where the actual camera is torquing, instead of me pressing down and I'm actually twisting my hand and therefore torquing the camera, what could I do instead? I actually can bring my my shutter release finger further over the shutter release than I would normally release it, and actually drag my finger in to the shutter release button. Let me demonstrate that for you really easily, since you can't see it on the camera, with something that you can see that is longer, so you're actually able to see the torque and the twist. Yeah, a ketchup bottle, right? Now I want you to try this. But wait for the evening and try this with your camera, and I will prove to you that what I've shown you works, and it is improvement for getting better, slower shutter speed shots without having shake. Lightroom and Photoshop are not going to help you improve a blurry image. So let me show you what you and most people have been doing as far as pressing the shutter release. Now you see the base of this ketchup bottle? I'm magnifying this a bit. Okay? Pressing the top like it's a shutter release button. That versus this. I'm actually dragging my finger into the shutter release. This versus that. Dragging my finger into the shutter release button. Superficially, there's a lot of things that add up to, people think, well, that's like 5 cents of a dollar. You know, I walk out in the parking lot, you know, I see 5 pennies. What if you had a tightwad that was gathering up every penny he saw? He'd have a lot of money at the end of the year. And when it comes to photography, when it comes to shooting at slower shutter speeds, which is specifically what this video is about, there are a lot of little techniques that can add up to money, meaning the money shot, as far as you not ruining the shot and causing camera shake. And if you try this and drop it down to whatever you think you're going to have shake at, depends on how good your technique is to begin with, in general, not regarding shutter release specifically, but in generally how you hold your camera, instead of actually pressing the shutter release button and causing this to happen, how about you actually drag your finger into the shutter release button? So you're actually causing your finger to, instead of pushing down and torquing the camera like this, you're actually dragging your shutter release finger button into the shutter release like this, instead of this number, and causing, instead of this, we got this. This versus that. Seems minor. Seems like, oh my God, are you kidding me? A video about this? If it makes a difference between you missing the shot and keeping the shot, then, you know, some people find that important, and it is important. It's like, I missed a shot, it's blurry. It was dark, and it was even at high ISO. You know, I don't have a monopod or a tripod with me because I'm in the theater, or, you know, I'm somewhere dark trying to take a shot. If you can actually change the way you release the shutter by dragging your finger into the shutter release button instead of torquing the entire camera by pressing the shutter release button down, it will improve camera shake, and therefore the relevant shake that you have at low shutter speeds, 30th, 15th, even higher shutter speeds actually. Depends on how much shake you got. So anyway, this might have seemed like a completely irrelevant video to some, and other people, if you actually, you know, suspend disbelief for a second and give it a try, you will see that it does work. Okay? Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you later.